Hi everyone, in this session we are going to do a practical demo on how to create a branch from our IDE and then push that changes to the remote repository and then create a merge request to our develop branch, and then later what we're going to do is we're going to move those changes all to the master branch. Okay, so first let's start with creating an issue. Okay, and this issue will be a very simple one that will ask the team to add a DevTools dependency to the application, because we are currently in a Spring RESTful web application and I'm logged in as a team lead user. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an issue and I'll call this as add DevTools API to the application. So if you're not aware of DevTools, basically this is a dependency that you can add to the Spring Boot application. So what it does is it enables a feature of restarting the application without whenever you make a change to any of the files that are in the class path. So this avoids a manual restart of your application to reflect the changes. So this DevTools becomes in very handy when you're developing the application. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new issue and I'm going to assign it to the developer, and I'm going to say the milestone as 2021, and the label I'm going to say this as, I'm just going to keep as a default label, and I'm going to do a submit. Okay, so the issue is created. Let's look at the board, and you can see that there is a board that says add DevTools API to the application. So we do have all of this, so let's add. Okay, so fine, so this is all good. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to log out from the team lead user and I'm going to sign in with developer user, and okay, I think it is developer user, I believe. Let's try it one more time. Okay, yes. So if I go back and go to the group projects, okay, and to the Spring RESTful web, and you can see there is one issue and that is assigned to me. Okay, that is as a developer, that was created by team lead user and it is assigned to the developer user. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this by adding the labels. What I'm going to say is it is in progress. Okay, and that's it, in progress. And we don't have any labels at the project level because all the labels that we created was for some other project, and we don't have something that says in dev, in test, and all those environment and all those labels. Okay, but for now, just to keep it simple, we'll have a label called in progress. Okay, and next what we're going to do is we're going to go to the project here and clone this, come to the IDE and import it. I'm going to select the project from Git as smart import and clone URI, and this is something that I'm going to change. Okay, so basically you can change this, instead of doing this manual host name update, you can have this in your host file and add the domain name, so you don't need to have this manual update all the time when you do a pull or the clone from the remote repository. So with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I'm going to log in as the developer user and click next, and you can see that we have all the 4 branches from remote repository. I'm going to create a local repository for the application, and I'm going to name that remote name as origin, then click finish. Okay, so this is getting built and you can see that the folder structure is created. So here what I'm going to do is I'm currently on master branch. Okay, so normally what you do is you follow the steps. Okay, you never work on the master branch, you switch it to the develop branch. because that is where you create a merge request for the like initially from your feature branch to the develop branch. So let's switch to that. Okay, you go to teams and then switch to other, and you can click on remote tracking and select develop branch, and you can create checkout. Click on checkout. Checkout has a new local branch, and I'll name it as develop, and you can see that the source is origin develop here, and then finish. Now I am on the develop branch. So what happened is I checked out from the remote repository, the develop branch, and created a local branch. That is, I checked out all to my local repository, and I call that branch name as develop. So now normally what happens is assume that you are already working on the develop, means you already have this application in your IDE, that is in your local repository, and you are already pointing to develop. So this is the step that you always need to follow. Okay, when you're starting, you start working on a task, that is on an issue. You right click, then you say team, and then do the fetch from origin. Okay, that is the first step that you do. So this will pull all the references from the remote repository, and then you do a pull. The next step is you do a pull. So what it's going to do is it's going to pull all the changes in the develop branch. So you need to make sure that whatever changes that you are making is on the latest file in the remote repository. Okay, so that will avoid merge conflicts, and if there are any, when you're trying to create a real merge request from your feature branch to the develop branch. Okay, so that is something that you need to follow as a good practice. So next what we have to do is let's make our changes. So the change was to add the DevTools API as a dependency. So I'm going to go to Spring add starters, and here I'm going to select the DevTools. I'm going to select here the Spring DevTools. Next, I would say yes to all and say finish. Okay, it's updating, and now you can see that DevTools is added. And if I go to Git perspective, and if I say changes, you can see all these changes, but we don't need all those changes, all these changes, right? So we don't need anything from bin. We only need is pom.xml file. So you can also double click on this. Okay, so the Git staging basically gives you all the files that you have updated in unstaged changes area. From here, what you need to do is you need to add the index, and that you do by moving the file from unstaged changes to the staged changes area here. So you can see that we have added the dependency called DevTools here, this one. Okay, fine. So next what we're going to do is, before we move the changes to stage area, or before we commit the changes, we don't want to change anything in the, or we don't want to push anything to the develop branch, right? And also from the previous session, what we did is we disabled anyone to push the changes directly to the develop branch, right? So what we have to do is next create a branch on top of develop branch and call it as a feature branch. So right click on this and create a branch, and I'll call this as feature branch, and I would give the name as whatever the issue that I have here, and I can call this as any branch. Number one is basically a number one branch, the ID number one. So I'll just call that as ID, but you can give any name. Okay, you can call it as DevTools changes. Okay, and then finish. So now you can see that you are now currently on the feature branch rather than the develop branch. That's what the check means here. So now we're good to push to this feature branch. Okay, so let's add this to our staged changes. And next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the initial commit message that let me say this as dev tools changes. Okay, and when you click on commit and push, what it's going to do is it's going to commit this change to the local repository, and when you say push, the changes is going to get pushed to the remote repository. Okay, so let's go back here, and if you see here in the branches, I don't have any other branch other than this 4 branches, right? So let's go back to our IDE here, and if I say commit and push, it looks good. It says push to branch in remote, yes, and I'm going to say that this is my remote and the source is going to be this in my local repository. This is my local, the source, and the remote is this, and the branch that is going to get created is feature DevTools changes. So I click on preview and I finally say push. So it says pushed to the remote repository. So let's go back to our web, and if we try to refresh, and you can see that branch is created here. Okay, so now your changes are all in your feature branch. Next, what you have to do is you have to create a merge request. Create a merge request, and which has the titles. You can change the title if you want to, then add some description to it, and then if you want to assign it to someone, okay, and then you can assign it to someone in your team, and you can also assign someone who can review it. I would say let me take team lead, and the milestone is going to be the same, the one that we selected when creating the issue, and the label is what I'm going to say is, okay, we don't have something called completed because we don't have anything at the project level, but let's let that can be done by the team lead, user, or whoever is maintaining this project. Fine. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to submit the merge request, and you can see that it is submitted. Now if you see here, there are a few options you can see. One thing is you can open and view the changes in web IDE. Also, you can check out the branch that we created, and someone basically, if I have the permission to review it. Now what happens is, once you create the merge request, you send this merge request to the team, and someone from the team will review the changes by looking at this merge request, and they see that, okay, let's go to the changes tab here. Okay, if you see here at the top, that is overview, commits, okay, commits, and the changes. Now in the changes, you can see that they'll compare, okay, everything looks fine, everything is good. You can change even the view, saying that, okay, I want a side-by-side view. You can do that, okay, like side by side. You can see that previously it was having nothing, and in current version it has this thing added. Okay, so with that, once the other team member approves the changes, then it's ready for the merge. Okay, so let's do that. Now currently we don't have one more developer to approve it, so what I'm going to do is I will inform the team. Okay, basically in real time I'll inform the team, and someone from the team will approve it, and then if the team member has the permission to merge it, then this will get enabled. Okay, currently it says ready to be merged automatically. Ask someone with right access to this repository to merge the request. Approval is optional, but let's do one thing. I guess now you are getting what we just did. We created a merge request, and we have created a merge request from feature branch to the master branch. Okay, this is something that is not correct. Okay, let's edit it, so that way we can explore the edit option or edit feature here. So this is something that I guess I overlooked it, but let's correct this. and I'll change it to the develop branch. Make sure that you don't do this in the real time. Okay, you always create a merge request to the develop branch, not to the master branch directly from the feature, not to the master branch. You go to the develop branch, okay, and save changes. Okay, now everything looks good. There is one big section here that says add a pipeline. Okay, so we look at this in our future sessions, but this is something that is related to the CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment concept, but we'll look at this in our future sessions. But for now, let's continue with the approval and the merge request. Now you can see that here both of these got enabled. The reason why the merge got enabled is previously it was master branch, right? And when creating the branch for the develop, what we did is we enabled the push option, or sorry, the merge option to the developers for the develop branch. But whereas for the test, release and master, that option was disabled, that is merge request. Okay, so that's the reason why the merge is enabled. But let's do one thing. This being a developer, I will log out and then log in as a team lead. Sign out. Now if I go to the project here, and you can see there is a notification here at the top that says review request for you. I can even go there and say dev tool changes. So this is something that gets you even to-do list will give you that, okay, the developer has requested a review merge request, right? So that notification can directly go and check over there. So let's click on that. And here what I'm going to say is I'm going to approve it after reviewing the changes in the changes tab. And then if there is anything, okay, if you find there is any issue here, what you can do is you can add a comment. Okay, add a comment and say that, okay, this thing doesn't look good, okay, or you need an update here. So that is where you add the comment, and that comment you can notify back to the developer. So that way those comments will be added here, and you won't be you can also like whatever changes, if the changes are really good, and if you think that this is how it should be developed, then you just like it, give a thumbs up, or if not, then thumbs down. So that, and also give a smiley reactions. Okay, so all those things you can see here, and you can also add a comment if you want to. So currently everything looks fine for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an approve. So once you approve it, the merge request is ready. Okay, then I'm going to do a merge request. So you can see that there is an option to see that says delete source branch. So normally what we do is we do delete the feature branch, because that is something that we don't want to have it after we merge to develop branch, right? Because if we keep on creating feature branches or keep those branches, then you will be having lots of branches, and of your branch number of branches is going to increase. So normally what we do is we delete the feature branch after we merge it to the develop branch. So let's do that. Now we are merging the changes to the develop branch. So let's go back to our repository, and let's see if we have that branch, and you can see that we don't have it. So next what we're going to do is we are going to create a merge request from develop to the test branch. So this is same. This is again a merge request has being I'm being team lead. What I can do is someone who is having the access, or someone from the team, again the developer, can create a merge request from develop branch to the test branch. So let's do that. What are the branches here? I'm creating a develop. No, that should not be the case. Change branches, and I'm going to say develop to the test branch. Okay, now next what I'm going to do is I'm going to reviewer, I'm going to be team lead, milestone is going to be this, and I'm going to say in progress, and then submit merge request. Perfect. You can see that a merge request is created. So normally this is going to be created by again developer, okay, or someone from the team, and the other team member is going to do the same or going to follow the same steps what we did from the feature branch to the develop branch. And the same steps is going to be followed from the develop branch to the test branch. So let's approve this and merge it. Perfect. So this is also merged, and we're going to follow the same step for the test branch to the release branch. Okay, so let's go back to our repository and branches. So go to the repository here, create a merge request, and then this is going to be change branches from test to it's going to be the release branch. And next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. Reviewer is there, team lead, milestone 2021, label is in progress. And normally what you do is you select a different label that says in test, in dev, okay, and whatever label that feels, you know, right to when you're doing this, creating this merge request, you can select those. But for now, we just have these three. I'm just selecting in progress. Next, I'm going to submit the merge request, and then the same thing, approve, and then merge. Perfect. So if you look at the repository here, you can see that we have all the three. We have our feature branch changes in all the three branches, that is release, test, and develop. Okay, so this is what you're going to do with your change request, or you can say with your issue. Now, if you look at the release branch, the recent change that we deployed was, if you look at the merge request, is this. Okay, you can just navigate to that change when you look at this section here. Fine. So next, we have to create a merge request from the release to the master branch. And normally this thing, this triggers whenever you merge it to the master branch. This will trigger the deployment in the production and production environment, basically. So that is something that you know, we configure the pipeline and do the CI/CD deployment on all those things. But currently we are learning about how we can use a GitLab as a code repository. Okay, so that all those parts, setting up the pipeline, CI/CD, all those things, we'll look into it in our future session. But for now, just you can, you know, we are learning about how to create a branch, feature branch, and move your changes all to the master branch. Okay, so let's create our final branch, that is change request, that is merge request, and assign it to the team lead, milestone. We're following the same steps here again, and release to the master branch. Finally, approve and merge. Perfect. So all your changes are now merged to the master branch. Okay, so this is how your changes gets moved from your local repository feature branch all to the master branch. Okay, so basically there are, you know, a lot of communication that will happen between the team members. If the developer one is working on the change, then his responsibility is to create the feature branch, push it to the remote repository, and then create a merge request, and finally notify the team members. Okay, and the other team members, like a developer 2, is going to review the changes. Okay, and if there is any issue or any recommendation, then they can comment it in the merge request, and the developer 1 will again work on those changes and push the changes back again to the branch. And finally, once everything looks good, then other developer or the team members can approve the changes and then merge the changes. Okay, then all your changes are now in develop branch, and then it propagates all to the master branch, to the production environment. Fine. So I hope that's clear, and now you are familiar with how to work on an issue from the developer perspective, and also team lead, how the team lead creates an issue, or you can say not the team lead but even a scrum master in your case, if you have a scrum master or a squad lead who will be working on all the issues creation. Okay, so that's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next session. Till then, take care. Thank you.